Good morning, America. This is the Hugh Hewitt radio program. I am guest host Kurt Schlichter. Wow, what a day. What a day for Hugh Hewitt to be gone for the first time in months and leaving it to me. Is it serendipity? Is it fate? Is it kismet that has Kurt Schlichter landing here in the Relief Factor studio in beautiful Southern California on this very day? Why me? Why is it so unusual and so odd and so interesting that I happen to be here today as America is convulsed with a series of riots across the country? Well, I'm not only a senior columnist at townhall.com. I am not only a author of various books, and you can go pre-order my book, 21 Biggest Lies About Donald Trump right now. I'm not only a noted Los Angeles trial lawyer. I'm a retired United States Army colonel. I have a degree in strategic studies from the United States Army War College. I am a veteran of the Los Angeles riots. I served on the ground for 3 weeks with the 3rd Battalion, 160th Infantry. And my boys are on the street now. My old brigade, where I was deputy commander for a few years before I retired 5 years ago, the 79th Brigade out of San Diego, but covering all of Southern California, has been mobilized. Those patches you see on television, which our guys are wearing, that's 79th. These are great guys. California's Army National Guard and Air National Guard, the best trained, best prepared civil support force of any National Guard. These guys are great. But the National Guard is not the answer to this problem. Because military force, kinetic force, is not the issue here. This is not a kinetic operation. Let me tell you what this really is, folks. Let me describe what is really going on here as we see looting and burning and pillaging and violence all across our television screens. It is not what we call a kinetic operation. It is not about shooting bullets. It is not about holding ground. It is not a typical military operation. It is an information operation. It is designed to create a reaction in you of fear and intimidation. You're supposed to be scared as the military wing of the Democrat Party launches into action. Now, this is a tradition with the Democrat Party, which founded the KKK, a violent organization, purportedly separate from the Democrat Party, yet supporting its goals and its aims, not completely controlled, kind of a rabid dog, but something they unleash to obtain an advantage. That is what is happening here. These Antifa people, and there's a whole group of them, and they have various, and Black Bloc is one of them. You can see these guys. These are the professional agitators. These are the guys who basically have a uniform. They basically have equipment. They have very expensive cameras. They all have backpacks. They look like they're trained. They look like they're coordinated. Why do they look that way? Because they are. And they've been waiting for a moment like this to spring into action. And my assessment, so retired United States Army officer, guy who knows a little about this stuff, is that this is an utter disaster for the Democrat Party. The Democrats, for decades, have been playing footsie with people like this. They did in the 60s. And in the last 10, 15 years, they've gone into overdrive. They've played footsies with these violent anarchist agitators. They've created an environment where these violent agitators, who are organized and funded by someone, we're going to find out who, could operate and grow and expand. And they were waiting for a moment like this, and this moment came out, and they completely misread the moment. This is a disaster for the left in America, an utter disaster. because this did not go the way they thought. You were supposed to be scared, folks. You were supposed to be quaking in your boots. You were supposed to be saying, oh my gosh, we'd better give in, we'd better submit, or they're going to burn down more Hot Topics and Trader Joe's. Well, it didn't quite work out that way. It did not work out that way. Why didn't it work out that way? Well, let's examine what's actually going on here. What ground do the rioters hold? And I won't call them protesters. That is an insult to people exercising their First Amendment rights. I will not do it. These are rioters who are seeking a political advantage, lying about their support for Mr. Floyd. They don't care. They care nothing about him or anything else other than their own power. What ground do they hold? They hold no ground. They hold no territory except the territory they're standing in on that moment. But if you look at the television, if you look at these knuckleheads on MSNBC, you would have the impression that the cities are in flames. The cities are not in flames. Small areas in each city are temporarily packed with idiots, and the police are driving them off, supported by a National Guard. It's an information operation. You are supposed to be afraid and intimidated. Are you afraid and intimidated? No, you're not. Why aren't you? Well, there's a couple reasons. The first, this is manifestly the exploitation of a tragedy. I can't tell you how many people, whether in person or on the phone or through social media, have observed footage of somebody throwing a brick through a Starbucks window and said, well, there's a powerful tribute to Mr. Floyd. Bitter sarcasm. People are angry. People are angry at the exploitation of what appears to be a terrible wrong done to this man by the Minneapolis Police Department and leveraged by bad people to try and get cheap political advantage. People see through it, and they're disgusted by it. The next thing is, like I said, these are rabid dogs. They're not obeying the liberals who think they control them. You know, look at all these Hollywood posers. Oh, we're going to pay the bail of people bailing out of jail. People arrested during these riots. We're gonna pay their bail. And you got Steve Carell, who I'll never watch anything from him again, and Justin Timberlake, and that lizard Patton Oswalt. All these creepy Hollywood leftists doing that, and suddenly they found that they bought it. They've now bought the same guys who are running into Beverly Hills to break out the Bulgari windows and steal the jewelry. Well, that doesn't look like justice to me. They just look like jerks. They just look like fools. And you can see there's one Hollywood actress, little Anna Kendrick. Remember, she's all cute and chippy. And her tweets earlier were, we're fighting for justice, and Donald Trump's legacy of racism is causing people to burn down Democrat cities with Democrat mayors and Democrat governors and blah, 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 blah. And now it's like, maybe this isn't good. They look like idiots. Why? Because they're idiots. And people have assessed that. But here's the big thing. How did these people grow to be an organized force? Now, you look at them, they've got communications, they've got planning, they've got training. They go in there, they've got money. There's footage of people handing out bills to people to go cause damage. Well, we'll talk about more after the break. But what happened is they lost top cover. For 10, 15 years, they knew that the cities were never going to prosecute them because they were controlled by Democrats. They knew the states would not prosecute them because they were controlled by Democrats. And they knew that the Obama Justice Department would never prosecute them. Oh, things have changed, folks. There's a new sheriff in town. His name's Bill Barr, and he's not having any of it. Crossing state lines to commit riots, using communications to organize riots. Those are federal beasts, buddy. It's a whole new day. These guys have lost this fight. Stick around here. I'll be right back to talk to you more. I'm Kurt Schlichter, sitting in for the great Hugh Hewitt.